Hello everyone, my name is Gus and welcome to Dive Talk Plus. This video a little bit different, but I've been getting a lot of questions about my tattoos, which I started back in June, and I figure I'll just make a quick video about it. This has nothing to do with diving, and it's mainly all about tattoos. So if you are already like, why is he talking about tattoos? You can just click out. Go and watch a different video because that's what I'm talking about here. I also don't want to extend this thing for like 30 minutes talking about the tattoos and stuff like that. All I want to talk about is what are the main parts of it. I also want to talk about like the pain associated with it, because if you're thinking about getting a tattoo, if you're like, well, let's see what he has to say, maybe he'll convince me or whatever. Well, I want to tell you about, you know, how long it took and all of that stuff in this video. Before I get started, I just want to give a shout out to Sebastian Rojas, my tattoo artist. He's the only one who's worked on me and probably the only one who will ever work on me when it comes to tattoos. He didn't pay me to say this. I paid for my tattoos. There's nothing sponsored here. I just want to give him a shout out because he is a complete artist. He's amazing on what he does, and the fact that he's so talented is one of the reasons why I was convinced to finally give it a shot. For the longest time growing up, you know, I have brown skin. I always thought that tattoos won't look good on me, and I guess this is subjective. Maybe you're watching this and you're like, yeah, they don't look good on you, and I get it. You know, I understand that, but I've always been attracted to it. I've always thought they were cool looking, and I always, you know, for people that have them, I'm like, man, that's pretty badass. This guy or this girl has tattoos. So I decided, again, after seeing Sebastian and what he can do, to start by getting my kids' initials tattoo. So if you see right here, these are my kids' initials. I have 3 kids, and I put their initials on my arm. I was really worried about the pain, especially because I dislike anything that has to do with needles or cutting or anything that has to do with incisions or whatever. Like, I hate it. I had surgery on my ankle because I broke it in 3 pieces playing rugby like 10 years ago, whatever it was. I don't know, way more than 10 years ago. It was, I think I was 20 or something like 20 years ago, maybe 22. I broke it playing rugby and I had surgery, and till this day, like, I still have nightmares about the pain of getting my ankle reconstructed. So I've always been like afraid of needles and knives and things like that, which is weird because if you know me, you know how much I like knives. But anyway, tattoos were a thing. So I got this one done first, and I remember using like numbing creams, like everything I could do to make the pain go away, and it was highly effective. Like, this tattoo took about 15-20 minutes or something like that, and I almost didn't feel it at all. It was like almost painless. So in a scale from 1 to 10, getting that tattoo done was like 2, something like 1 or 2. Like, I barely felt it. It was a little painful, but not a big deal at all. So then right after that, that was kind of like my test to see if I can handle it. Right after that, I went with my cave arrow. I don't know if you can see it because there's a lot of glare on the screen, so I can't even see what you're seeing. But the cave arrow, obviously, to a signal that, you know, I'm a cave diver, and cave diving is kind of like in my blood. Like, I want to do it. I want to be part of it forever. This is not like a fad or anything. So I wanted to get my cave diving arrow tattooed in my arm. Not just the cave diving arrow. I also wanted to show the proper way of tying a cave arrow into the line, the guideline inside the cave. And another hidden meaning behind it is my favorite number is number 2. I've always been number 2. Every sport that I've ever played, rugby, I was number 2. When I played water polo, I was number 2. When I played baseball, I was number 2. So number 2 has always been my thing. Fun fact, for those of you who don't know, the arrow, if you look at the shape, it looks like a number 2. I know it's not exactly a number 2 because it's an arrow, but the shape that I gave it was like the number 2. So that was my second tattoo. And that's where everything was supposed to end. I was just going to have a cave diving arrow and the initials of my kids in my arm, and that was it. Oh, by the way, the pain level on this one, that one sucked. I remember, I think maybe the numbing cream was wore out at that point. If you know about numbing creams, it's like they're supposed to last like 3 hours or something and then go away. Well, the last piece of it, especially the whites, for those of you who have tattoos, leave a comment below. Whites is like lava. Like they're tattooing you with lava. So once he started doing the whites or whatever in the guidelines and all that, killer. Like pain was like 8 out of 10. Like I felt I was gonna die. I didn't know. Now I have a new pain scale after getting my full arm done, my full sleeve. That was really like a 5 out of 10. It was bad, but it was manageable. And I never asked for breaks or anything. I just took it. It took 3.5 hours to do that guy, the arrow, and I just took it. And Sebastian, again, he did a great job. So that was June 1st of 2025. I come home, I recover from my tattoo, whatever. I was super happy with it. And then I started to notice that my arm felt like an unfinished project. It felt like I have all this empty space, like I can't handle it. I have to do something about it. So I decided to go for a full sleeve. I felt like finishing the whole arm was the project, was the mission, right? So the next piece that I work on is the big tattoo on the right side, which is Poseidon, as you can see, fighting with a trident with Kraken, or the octopus that I have, with the tentacles wrapping all over my arm. It's a super cool piece, and again, like if you see it in detail, you can see his abs, and you know, Woody always jokes how I took his image to make Poseidon, but you can see like the muscles in his legs, the garb that he's wearing. You can see the texture of the fabric. Like Sebastian did such a good job with that. Like I wish I had better arms because I feel like it's a disservice to his craft and to the art that goes behind it. So you can see the tentacle goes all the way up here, and the octopus kind of joins right around my chest. The texture in the octopus is like unbelievable. It's like the level of detail that he put into it is phenomenal. And again, it was one of those things where I'm like, it's part of me getting a tattoo, but it's also part of me letting him show what he can do. And he just did a great job. So we did that. That tattoo was done in 3 parts. So we started from the top to the bottom. I think we did the octopus and like this tentacle up here, and you know, the trident part, and I think we worked like to the waist maybe of Poseidon. Then the next day we did the legs, but nothing with like the big tentacle or the one that goes around it. It was kind of like to the elbow. And those 2 days, I think I was in there. Day 1 was about 9 hours or something like that. Day 2 was 10.5 hours. It was the longest session that I've done, and that was brutal, man. That was so bad. Even though it was one of the least painful parts, like especially back here, like all this stuff back here, I barely even felt it. I would say that was level 1 or 2 in pain. This stuff right here, when it came to the arm, it started being like level 3 or 4 out of 10 in terms of pain. But there were certain areas, like right here in the crease of the elbow, right here on the elbow itself. Oh man, that sucked. That was, 7, I would say 8 when it comes to pain. Really, really bad. I didn't like that at all. So he finished the foot with this little tentacle here, and he finished this foot back here. This wasn't too bad. And that was it. So the 3rd day I was supposed to come and keep going, but I was in such bad shape. My arm was like mangled after 20 hours or whatever in 2 days of tattooing, that he was like, I really think you should go home and rest and then come back at another point. And I appreciate his honesty. I mean, obviously he makes money being a tattoo artist, so the fact that he was willing to say, not today, we'll do it later, that's I think really important, and a good relationship to have with your tattoo artist. So he sent me home. I think it took, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, and then I was back at the studio to finish the big piece, right, which I call, the Poseidon and the Kraken. That big piece we finished, which is finishing all the tentacles that go around my arm, right here to the front. And I wanted to match kind of like where the arrow ended. I wanted the tentacle to be right around there. I told him to push it a little bit further because I felt like the arrow, which ended like right around here, I don't know if you can see that, I told him that he could push the tentacle a little bit further. What I wanted to achieve with the sleeve was I could wear a long sleeve or a suit or something. I could go somewhere and not show the tattoos. Not that I'm afraid of showing tattoos or whatever. Like, I'm not concerned about it at all. I show him on the video all the time. Who cares? Tattoo. Everyone has tattoos. It's not a big deal for me. But if I wanted to hide them, I didn't want something in my hands or something that would stick out if I was wearing like a suit or something like that. So that's where we stopped right there. And I think that is where, you know, right before a sleeve would end on a long sleeve button down or something like that, or a shirt. So we ended there. All of the shading, all of that was done. You see the tentacles. Like, I'm gonna get close here so you can see the quality on the tentacles itself. That you can see every single part and like all of the texture of it. Like, he nailed so perfectly. And so I was really happy with that. And that was kind of going to be the end of it. But once again, I felt like this is an unfinished product. And the reason for that is my inner arm was not covered. The inner arm was white, and this inner part of the arm was white as well, or was unfinished. It was just skin. And man, like, every time I saw myself in the mirror or in videos or whatever, like, yeah, it's cool that you can see the tattoo on the outside, but every time I pointed at something or whatever, that whole part was empty, and it just bothered me. I know that there's some people that can live with that and just be like, yeah, I just don't have a tattoo there, and be cool with it. It just bothered me. Like, every day I'm like, I gotta cover that. I gotta come up with something. So when I got with Sebastian again and I said, look, I need to cover it. I need to go full sleeve or nothing. Like, full, you know, fill the whole thing or nothing. And, you know, he was like, well, what ideas do you have? And I wanted to, again, pay homage to cave diving. You know, I felt like my arm was kind of a theme, the theme of diving and the theme of, you know, deep sea, etc. So I thought about putting the one thing that is constant for all cave divers that we kind of conquer when you get certified, which is the Grim Reaper, right? So as you're going into a cave, we get a cave diving sign that is there to protect non-cave divers from going in and losing their lives. So the cave diving sign, you've all seen it. You're seeing it right now on the screen. It has this Grim Reaper on the right-hand side, kind of like, you know, telling you, like, come in if you dare, and a bunch of dead bodies right below it. So I took that and I told Sebastian, look, I don't want to just blatantly copy the Grim Reaper from the cave diving sign. I don't want to just do that. I want to give it like a different angle. Like, if you were looking at the Grim Reaper from the side or from below or something like that, I didn't want exactly the Grim Reaper from the cave diving sign. So we came up with that design. If you can see it, he is kind of from the side, but it's the same Grim Reaper. You can see the finger right here, you know, doing the whole, like, come here if you dare. So he's doing that with his finger. And he has the white garb instead of black. So typically when you see a Grim Reaper, he's wearing black. The cave diving sign is white. So I wanted to do it white. The garb is white. The face obstructed, just like you see in the sign. And then he has the, what's it called, skeith or whatever, scythe? I don't remember the name in English, how you say that, but that thing, the scythe, I don't know, right behind it, just like the cave diving sign. So that is my inner bicep. In terms of pain, that was the absolute worst. Out of the whole tattoo, the inner bicep is the worst. The closest he got to my armpit, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to be gross, but the closest he got to my armpit, like right here, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 pain. I cannot imagine anything more excruciating. Although a lot of people that I've talked to that have tattoos in other parts of their body have told me that their arm was a breeze compared to their back, or compared to their ribs, or compared to their legs. It's like, oh, you have no idea how easy it is. Even the inner bicep, like close to the armpit, that's nothing compared to the back. Well, thank you for letting me know that I will never tattoo my back, because that was terrible. Like, constant breaks. He would go, like, there were some points, and by the way, I decided to do no numbing cream. So I only used numbing creams the first day when I did my initials and the cave diving arrow. After that, I said, yeah, let's just go without it. And so anyway, that was no numbing cream right here. I think at some point I told him to use it. At some point I was like, dude, let's just try numbing cream and see if that helps. It didn't. Spoiler alert, numbing cream is complete nonsense, I feel like, at this point, because it hurt the whole time, and it was terrible, and you just have to sit there and take it, and it's just like an awkward position to be just laying there and getting killed nonstop. And yeah, that was really tough. And again, Sebastian is great at it, and he would let me take breaks, so we would go for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then I gotta stop, just give me a break. And he's like, all right, go ahead, take a break. And we just kept going on and on and on, and that was tough. And so anyway, that's the Green Reaper. And then finally, the stars. This right here might be one of my favorite parts of my arm, and that is just because it symbolizes where I come from. So a lot of you guys know that I am from Venezuela, and if you look at the Venezuelan flag, there's stars in the middle. Now, you may be curious enough and counted 7 stars, whereas the Venezuelan flag, the current Venezuelan flag, has 8. Well, the 8th star was added after the current regime took over, and they basically installed socialism and communism in the country. And so I am not part of that. I didn't grow up in that, you know, regime and like what they're doing over there, which is a complete disaster. So I am from the 7 stars Venezuela, right before this whole mess took place, which started in 1998. I grew up, you know, I was born in the early 80s, and my whole growth, I moved out of Venezuela in 2005. So I don't identify with that at all. So 7 stars, not 8 for me. And the middle piece, what gave me the idea of the stars, is that the 3 colors of the flag, which are yellow, blue, and red, the blue in the middle symbolizes the sea, the Caribbean Sea that surrounds the coast of Venezuela. Since the whole arm is themed on the ocean and sea and diving and all of that, I felt it was appropriate to go with what's in the middle of the flag of Venezuela, which is the stars and the sea. Now, on the flag, the blue is calm. It's just solid blue with the stars on it. Because of the current situation in the country, I didn't feel that things are as calm. So my ocean, my sea behind the stars is mad. If you look at closely, and again, the lighting is not the best, but you see the ocean is crazy. It's like under a storm, it's under a siege. So once again, this is a shout out to Sebastian. When we were thinking about the background for the stars, I didn't want calm waters. I wanted a mess. I wanted a storm, which is what they're doing over there. So there you go, 7 stars with a crazy ocean. This wasn't very painful. I would say, I don't know, 3 or 4 in the pain scale. It wasn't as bad. The worst part of the whole arm, the inner bicep, and as close, the closer that you get to the armpit, is the absolute worst. So you can see it is fully surrounded, full saturation on the arm, and in total it took 46 hours, which is a little bit off from the estimate. When I talked to Sebastian, I'm like, look, if I want to do my whole arm, how long do you think it will take? And he said it would take about 48 hours. So I would say 6 days, 8 hours a day, non-stop. So about 48 hours was his original estimate. We were actually able to do it in 46. So there were 5 sessions total, 46 hours total. Don't regret it at all. Absolutely love it. And if you're on the fence, as a crow flies by, if you're on the fence about getting a tattoo, hopefully this answers some questions. One way or the other, you know, you're either now thinking, yeah, I should find a reputable artist and going for it because I have this idea or whatever it is, go do it. Or if you're like me, worried about the pain and the needles and all of that, maybe this discouraged you and said, you know, this is not for me at all. Either way, I hope it brought you clarity. This is not, again, a sponsored video. I'm not trying to get you tattooed or anything like that, but because I've gotten so many questions about it, I wanted to kind of go over all the details without Woody, you know, trying to remind me that I've poisoned my whole body and that I'm gonna die of cancer or whatever he thinks tattoos do to people. But anyway, that's it in a nutshell. What the whole arm sleeve is about. I am done, right? As you can see, the whole arm is completely open. Although, I mean, this arm, there's nothing. So maybe we'll see where it goes from there. But thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.